at fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello. Welcome to Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday evening out there. I know I am. I've had a long trip back from Tampa today, but I'm still pretty excited about tonight. Let me go ahead and welcome the panel here with me tonight. I got Jeremy's in the building. How you doing tonight, Jeremy?
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Oh, I got Miss Monica's here. How you doing, Miss Monica?
Doing good. How you doing, J Real?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Mr. King is in the building. How you doing, Mr. Mikey King?
Holla, holla, holla.
holla now. And joining us tonight, we got a doctor in the house. He's going to talk to us a little bit later about some health issues with dealing with men. Dr. Ademola Adewale. Is that right, sir?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, so we'll kind of go ahead and jump right into the show. I don't know how you guys watched football last weekend. Two good games last weekend happened. You had the Baltimore and New England. You had San Francisco and Atlanta. I had a bet going on with a buddy at work this weekend. He bet me both games. Now, we ain't bet no money or nothing. Just some Wawa sandwiches. But I had to guess right both games. I had to guess the San Francisco game right, the Baltimore game right. And fortunately for me, I won. Got me a nice little Wawa sandwich, a little Wawa plug. Wawa is awesome. If you haven't been there, you need to go try it.
Smoothies.
It's good stuff.
Could have sent me one. Well, no, you couldn't, I guess.
But yeah, man, that's the San Francisco game. You know, when Atlanta went up 17-0, I was thinking to myself, well, maybe. But then I thought about the game before, and I was like,
there you go.
I was like, well, you know, Atlanta went up 24-0. I think it was on Seattle.
And they came back.
And Seattle came back, you know what I'm saying? And then by the end of the second quarter, the San Francisco was at 17-14, and at that point I was like, well, that's over for Atlanta.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, you know, like these guys, man. And that's what my buddy was saying, oh, this is the year for Atlanta.
No.
But it's like, you know, looking at the Seattle game, you know, I say they won on the luck of a prevent defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the team get up 1 point, and then they go into that little, all right, we'll let them catch it. But we just won't let them get a bunch of yards. And every team that does that usually screws themselves over in the end. And we saw what happened to Seattle. But you know, I commend San Francisco for sticking it in because defense stepped up really big in the second half in that game. But you guys have any comments real quick?
Yeah, I told y'all last week, you can't trust Atlanta. You know, Seattle's one thing. You know, at the end of the day, Russell Wilson, he's still a rookie. The team in general, they still learning how to win. You know, but you know, San Francisco, you know, they've been there. They went to the NFC Championship last year. They was ready to take the next step. In Atlanta, they was just happy winning the one game last week. So they got that monkey off their back. So they went to the championship. Now they lose. Now maybe next year they might go to the Super Bowl. You know, who knows?
Nah, probably not.
Probably not. San Francisco again. San Francisco again.
I don't know if it'll be San Francisco, but I don't think it's going to be Atlanta.
I don't know because Gonzalez talking about he going to retire. So
yeah, they're losing Gonzalez. I mean, but them boys, Jones and White, they're beasts, man. They were beasts. I mean, they were beasts in that game in the first half. But, yeah, I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think so.
Not Atlanta.
No, you picked Atlanta, didn't you?
No.
I do believe you said last week Atlanta, the Patriots was going.
No. I definitely didn't say the Patriots. No. I actually, from the beginning of the season, I predicted that the Ravens and the 49ers would go. That's what I did.
But what about last week?
Last week, I said both of the Hardball brothers.
Run that tape back.
Yeah, I got it right here. I can pull it up. I said it.
So somebody said Atlanta was going to win. I know it wasn't me.
No.
And I know it wasn't you, J.
No. Might have been Monica.
Well, being that I was not there last week.
It wasn't me.
But yeah, man, good game though. Good game. Then you gonna say something, Doc?
It's a very, very good game. I did enjoy it. It's just amazing to see two brothers going to Super Bowl playing against each other. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a historical. That never happened before. But it was a good game, though.
Yeah, it was a good game though. It was a good game. Even the Baltimore game, when Baltimore was playing the Patriots there, man, that was good for a second there, because Tom Brady is good for picking you off short, and so when he started off, he kind of got his rhythm back, and then once again, second half came along, and Baltimore defense stepped it up. They may be made up a bunch of old men, as they say, but
he's scared of.
but they stepped it up, man.
Brady's scared of the Ravens, man. That's like the only team in the league he can't do. I can't say never play good, but he don't play good with them. He got more interceptions than touchdowns with them. That's like consistently. I don't know, like he's scared to get hit. That's what it is. I think he's scared because you got Suggs coming around that corner. He's scared. Like, please don't let Ray come up the middle. I don't know. He never played good with them. Even last year, Baltimore should have won that game. The missed field goal, the drop pass.
I'm actually happy to see Baltimore after their what was the owner died or somebody passed away.
Yeah, the owner died this year.
Yeah,
the original owner anyway.
The original owner.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy to see that they're actually going to the Super Bowl and before Ray Lewis retires, I'm happy to see that he's going to get a second chance at a ring. Now, I might have said that I would want to see the Falcons go, but I didn't predict them going.
You might have said.
No, I might have said that I want to see them go.
I thought I said it.
Yeah, I got the email that you sent me that said that they were going, but I didn't say that. No.
I got you, bro.
I'm just letting you know how it is.
But nonetheless, like I said, good game. I'm glad to see Ray Lewis at least get one more shot at it too. Despite his little legal issues that he had early in his career, as far as playing the game of football, when you see that man's passion for the game of football, you can't help but enjoy the way that he plays the game. He's certainly going to go down probably as the greatest, or at least one of the greatest linebackers to ever play football. It's just nice to see him get that one last shot, and kind of sort of like Jerome Bettis did, ride out at the top of the game. That'd just be nice to see.
You bring up the Steelers for me. They ain't got nothing to do with it.
Hey, man, that's all right. The Steelers will be back next year.
And Jerome Bettis is not Ray Lewis, nor close to it.
True that.
He may not be one of the greatest running backs ever, but that's all right.
What I like about
Steelers, man. That's
what I like about Ray?
He's one of the greatest running backs ever.
No, he said he may not be.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
The thing I like about Ray Lewis, man, his faith in God. And, everybody talks about, how Tebow is. But Ray is the same way. When Tebow's just thrown in front of the camera so much. But Ray's the same way. You never seen anybody praying so passionately and loudly after games, before games. He always gives God thanks. I mean, always. It's really like refreshing, Yeah, why Ray don't get no love for that?
It's very few players that actually do that in the TV limelight.
Yeah.
You don't see too many players on camera, doing like you say, like Ray Lewis does. But all the time he is the one that's always giving God the glory for all of his for the things that he's achieved.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to see him going on in the blaze of glory, though. It's just amazing seeing him like rally his teammate and everybody come around, and they were counted out, but now they're back in full force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was questioning about that 10th, 11th game. I was like, oh man, it's like, come on now.
Yeah, man. That's they're doing a good job. Even they gave a lot of flack to Jim Caldwell when he first had to take over office and coordinator duties, and
he saved the day.
He's never called football games before. how's he gonna do? Like this man been coaching 30 years.
Yeah,
And,
I think
because he's quote unquote never called plays before.
and it's what, but see, and to be one of them things, you never know. He could have called plays, but he might have whispered to the coordinator here and there, "Hey, do this, do this, do this. I think this is a good idea." You don't know.
Yeah, man. So
But like
all
you said,
around, man.
He's to me, he's probably one of the greatest reasons they're doing it, because now the offense is picked up.
Oh yeah.
So the defense always was their defense, but the offense has picked up. They've just been more consistent. So
We'll see, man. It's gonna be give a good game, San Francisco and Baltimore. I think.
I don't even care who wins.
Game.
Either one, I'll be happy.
Good game. You got any predictions though? Who you think winning, Mike?
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going ahead and going to pull it out.
So he's got the Ravens. Who you got, Jerm?
I don't care who wins. I'd be glad for both of them. I would like to see Ray get it, though. I really would like to see Ray Lewis
You
get
like
it.
Baltimore too. What about you, Doc?
Definitely Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Just to see Caldwell, the way it was played out with the Colts, and just get rid of the brother.
I know, man.
He went to the Super Bowl and went to the Super Bowl and they lost. But gosh,
He went to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, he didn't have Brady. I mean, he didn't have Manning.
Right.
You know, throughout the last season.
Right.
And they canned the brother.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
We don't need you no more.
We don't need you.
Even
no
though
more.
you was his quarterback coach for all them years and helped groom him.
Yeah.
We don't need you no
We
more.
don't need you no more.
You good.
But that's all right.
You know how it is.
Yeah, it's all good, though.
Here today, gone tomorrow. It's for the brothers, man.
That's all right.
It's the same thing that happened to Cornell.
Yeah.
They knew when they gave the job to Cornell.
Yeah.
Cornell didn't have the personnel to win.
I know.
And then, of course, he lost.
Yeah. Quarterback was always hurt.
And
Running
then,
back was really on one knee.
And then they got rid of him. 1 year.
He was a problem.
Come on, man. Even your boy Lovie Smith, man.
Oh no.
Winning record. Winning record.
He the best coach Chicago done had since Dick have been there.
Missed the playoffs. Oh, you got to go. Like, come on, man.
It is what it is, though.
Come on, man. But we'll see what happens.
We shall
man.
overcome, right?
We shall overcome. I think Baltimore winning would be a great story. But personally, I just think San Francisco is going to win that game. I think the boy Kaepernick, I think he's going to pull out some surprises on him, and between either his feet or his arm, or some mid combination of the two, I just feel like he's going to put something on Baltimore they ain't really seen all season.
And I'm thinking the opposite, because I haven't seen Kaepernick get hit yet. Not a good hit.
True.
And I think that Baltimore is the team, and I give it to the Steelers. The Steelers will hit you and have you scared, and Baltimore would definitely hit you and have you scared. And I think it's going to take one hit on Colin.
But he a big boy, though, now.
He big,
He a big boy. He ain't no little boy.
Like you say, when Suggs or somebody that on Baltimore team hit him, a good hit, that's all it's going to take. You won't see none of that no more. There'll be none of that.
I think I think the scheming, because he got to go up against Ed Reed. So Vernon Davis, and they ain't just gonna be floating around there open like they was with Atlanta. No, I don't think they gonna be that open like they were. So it's like, if they do what Atlanta did, make them throw the ball, but then make them throw in tight spaces, he might have an issue, but we'll see. But that boy got an arm on him, boy. He got a cannon. You see the way that ball be coming out and be tight spirals too.
The boy's good, man. The boy's good. He's gonna be a force to reckon with.
All it takes is one good hit.
I would say this, though. See, the thing, too, though, but him being a running quarterback for so long, because he was a running quarterback in college, it's not like he's not used to getting hit.
Not NFL hit.
I mean, I understand, but he's been touched, you know what I'm saying? It's not like how Manning and Brady are, where they're pocket passers, so, they're not accustomed to getting hit all the time. Correct. So he's been running the ball his whole career. But he's used to getting tackled, so,
This season, he has not been welcome to the NFL like RG3 has been.
No, not so much.
He has not.
No, not so much.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Super Bowl, you're going to get welcome to the NFL.
Baltimore go touch him now.
We're gonna see. I think it's gonna be.
But
a good game.
I think they will got some heart though. That's why I like him. I think he got a little heart.
We'll see, man. It's gonna be a good game regardless who wins. I think. I just hope it. I don't think it'll be a blowout. So if it's not a blowout, it'll probably be close. It should be a good game. But February 3rd, Super Bowl comes on. Can't wait. We'll go ahead and move on real quick. Before we start talking about some of these health issues, remember the number up at the station, 407-894-1680. 407-894-1680 is the number. I want to remind everybody this Saturday, January 26th, we're going to be having a Zumbathon. Well, we aren't, but there will be a Zumbathon for our own Miss McCrae. It's a health fund that they're doing. She is going to be in need of a liver transplant, and there are some funds that she's going to need to supply to help her as a part of getting that transplant when they do give her the call. She's just waiting. And so they're doing a Zoomathon in support of that. The cost per ticket is $10 per person. It's going to be this Saturday, again, January 26th, from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Tangelo Park YMCA. Tangelo Park YMCA, 3 to 5 p.m. this Saturday. The address over there is 5160 Pueblo Street. Of course, that's Orlando, Florida. In support of that, what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to give away a couple of tickets to the Zumbathon on Saturday. So just give us a call. We'll say second person that calls the station will get the ticket. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. That's a ticket for the Zumbathon for Miss McCrae at Tangelo Park YMCA from 3 to 5 p.m. on this Saturday. So 407-894-1680 is the number. All right, we're going to go ahead and start talking about some men's health issues. So, Doctor, would you go ahead and start us off? I know we're going to talk about some things for at risk for young men.
Okay, I'm glad to be here again. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you for coming, sir.
We see our young men, die every day. I work in the emergency department, and I see these every day. And it concerns me that we do not really talk about this much as to what health issues are killing our young folks, and that's why we're here tonight, to try to kind of elaborate on this problem and see how we can enlighten ourselves and see what we can do to minimize being exposed to this unnecessary death that's taking of our future generation. If we think about health as a whole, focusing basically on a black man, we tend to be behind the scene in terms of what do we need to do? Do we do things that we need to do to actually check ourselves out and make sure we discover things before it's gone so far? And when you look at the data that's out there, that stratify, men into different age categories, it's so astounding to see, where our young folks fall in this category. When you look at, let's say, for example, from ages 10 to 14, the number one cause of death of our young folks is unintentional injuries. And what are these? Firearms, reckless driving, getting involved in risky behavior. I mean, we're talking about ages 10 to 14 now. 10 to 14. I mean,
yeah. When you think about that, 10 to 14 are dying to, what do you call it, unintentional
injuries.
Unintentional injuries. So gunshot wounds, car accidents.
Yeah.
Last week we were talking about gun violence, and we were, the city of Chicago, of course, is the platform right now for gun violence. And a lot of those kids, they are young kids that are dying due to gunshot wounds. And, that was one of the questions we asked last week, what can be done to sort of curb these things? Because if the young black men are dying, 10 years from now, we're going to be, a lost generation in terms of men anyway, and that's the biggest thing that we want to avoid so that we can strive on. I mean, we have a black president and just got sworn in at the inauguration yesterday. So obviously history is sort of, we'll say, changing on our side, that, we can just be more than the background. We can be the forefront. We can be the leader. We can be the head of the free world, if you will. So this is very troubling. information when you kind of put it in context.
Oh yeah, and when you even go through the numbers, you realize that looking at these unintentional injuries, motor vehicle death actually leads, following by poisoning, like overdose on drugs. Then firearms follow that. You think firearm would be number one, but it's actually poisoning, then motor vehicle death, and firearms. So regardless of what's causing the death, it's still death. It's our young kids that been taken away from us. And when you think about it, to say ages 10 to 14, if you look further down the road and you'd say, what's number 2 cause of death for the same age category? Age 10 to 14, homicide. And when you talk about homicide, it's like violence against violence, basically. Violence against each other. Mm-hmm. Could it be firearm? Majority of it is firearm, And to think about 10 to 14 years old, these are still kids.
Yeah. And
homicide is the number 2 cause of death in that age category. And when you go down the list, then you have cancer, number 3, Young kids get cancer too. Mm-hmm. The problem we have in that situation is, by virtue of our socioeconomic status, a lot of our kids' family may not have health insurance, and kids are not being checked up regularly by physicians because they say, I don't have insurance, I'm not going to the hospital. So by the time things get discovered, maybe the child got sick and they end up in the emergency room, and during the process of doing the evaluation of that child, they found out they have a cancer. That's so advanced now that require more resources that sometimes it may be too far gone to turn them around. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're seeing that up there as number 3 cause of death in our young men aged 10 to 14 years old. So how can we prevent this? It's like I tell, I run into patients in the emergency room every day that they show up for one problem or the other, and you say, how come you didn't come in and see me 6, 7, 8 months ago? Oh, I'm scared of the hospital, I don't have insurance. But I said, but we could have turned this around. Well, now this is too late. Yeah. And it hurts to know that we have resources in the community, but majority of our folks are not even aware of that. Mm-hmm. There are community clinics all around the city. Some run by Orange County Health Department, and some run by charitable organizations spread all over town. Mm. And you see young folks, or you see people show up and say, well, I don't have insurance, so I'm not going to a doctor. But I said, but there's free clinic down the road. Oh, I didn't know that. So I guess we have to find a way to
educate them.
Let the community know where the resources are, so you can have access to it and utilize it because it's there for you.
Right.
But then you cannot utilize this if you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that goes back, like you say, education, which is another issue within our community. Being educated as, obviously services that are out there for you. Just education in general is a huge problem that certainly has to be addressed within the community. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Join us in the discussion. Also, remember, we're giving away tickets to the Zumbathon on Saturday. 407-894-1680 is the number. You guys have any comments there? Mr. Jeremy, Mr. King, Miss Monica?
Well, I'm not sure if you have, some names of local, like you were saying, charitable organizations or community clinics. Maybe you can share with the audience some of those places in this area.
Actually, in this area, you have the Orange County Health Department actually carries the bulk of the load here. Okay. And you have like community clinics all over the place. All you have to go is go online and look at Orange County Health Department clinics. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, you have what they call a Pecan Clinic. And Pecan Clinic, it's like kind of sister to the Orange County Health Department too. They help you facilitate. So if you go in there, let's say you have a job and you make just enough money that you can't afford insurance, but you need to see a doctor. Mm-hmm. You go to Pecan Clinic, they can actually help you facilitate ways to get you into the system. And they do what they call a share cost, or they may charge you $5 to be seen, but they still see you and provide you the resources that you need to adequately cater to your needs. So if you go online, if you look at the resources for healthcare or free healthcare in Orange County or Orlando itself, there are tons of resources there. But if you never ask or look for it, then you will not know it's there. That's the problem.
Right. What degree, I guess, of healthcare could they get at like a free clinic or, a pecan clinic?
Actually, they get a lot because the city invested in this. So what happens is, let's say if you go to the Orange County Health Department, there's one right on I'm blanking out on the street right now, right by
on Central
Star Meat area. What's that area called?
Mercy Drive.
On Mercy Drive. I know Star Meat.
You know Star Meat.
So there's a clinic right there, and if you go there, basically they have doctors that are employed by the city, that staffs these clinics, and also they have subspecialists that are actually contracted to the city. So if you go there and the resources you need to care for your needs, if it cannot be provided in that clinic itself, at that setting, they have specialists that are contracted to take care of it.
To provide the free service as well.
So it's not unusual for me to work in the emergency department and I see somebody show up with a referral from the clinic.
Gotcha.
So the resources is there. It's about tapping into their resources and making sure you get your, optimum health care that you deserve, because it's there for you, And, we talked about ages 10 to 14, but as we go older, from ages 15 to 19 or 20 to 24 and 25 to 34, that's where it gets rough. Homicide is the number one cause of death. That's scary to think about. Our young brothers from age 15 to 34, all the way to 44, as a matter of fact. Homicide is the number one cause of death. We talk about gun violence, and we have people that are against, taking away guns and stuff. But it's like, if we come into our community, we see that it's killing our kids. What do we need to do to change that? I do not know. This is what we have to do as a community to get together and find a way to, curtail
those problems.
Yep.
Right, and we also talked about that last week, and that the solution can't come from the government when it comes to our community, because the problems in our community have nothing to do with legal guns, which is what the government is trying to regulate. The problem in our community has to do with the illegal guns that kids are just buying off the street from some random guy in a back alley or whatever the case may be. So we do have to come together as a community. And, I think, education. We have to find a way to really drill to our young people that, education is the way to go. It doesn't mean that you're going to make $1 million. It certainly doesn't mean that. The opportunity may be there, but it doesn't mean you will. But it certainly means that you should be able to do something to get you out of where you were or you are today. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's not about making $1 million. Everybody's not going to make $1 million. That's not realistic. But everybody can get a decent job. Everybody can become a doctor if they so desire. Everybody can become a lawyer. Everybody can become, garbage man is a good job too. They pay well.
Good benefits.
With good benefits, exactly, or the post office, as they say, right? Yeah. They got good benefits down at the post office.
That's right.
It's the jobs out there that you can do to kind of elevate yourself from that situation. And education, man, we got to drive that point home to them and show them that there's a different way that this thing can get done, man.
Yeah. So it's like going along that line, it's like from my age 15 to like 44 years old, the number 2 cause of death for a young black man is unintentional injuries. So we have homicide, number 1, unintentional injuries, number 2, and we have suicide, number 3, from age 15 to 44. So, which is huge.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that.
So it's like we realize now that the things that are killing our young folks are actually preventable.
Right.
But then how are we going to prevent it?
Yeah.
So it all comes down to saying it takes a village to raise a child, and it's like when you go around and you see that the fabrics of the family is not there, and you're looking for the so-called role model or someone to be a mentor to you, and that person is not there, guess what? You seek mentorship wherever it comes.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know there are some organizations that are trying to provide mentoring for young black men. You have the 100 Black Men.
Right.
And you have big brothers and big sisters, and they're active in the community. So there are several organizations that are trying to provide mentoring to these young black men. So the question is, do we need to get our churches involved? Get the men in church, men of God, start doing this mentoring in the community at the grassroots level? Will these make an impact in minimizing this unnecessary death?
Right. And a lot of people get frustrated because maybe you only saved 10. But that was 10 that we saved that aren't going to end up in that situation. It's it becomes sort of like a numbers game. Save 10% today to save 30% in the future. Yeah. Because that 10 finds another 10, finds another 10, finds another 10, and now we're at 50. So it's steps. It's take the steps to start that. We need to encourage people to join these types of organizations. And again, it's not about being, because you're a doctor, you can join the organization. No, they need teachers. They need men, garbage men, if you will. They need people. They need men that are doing stuff
positive,
that are doing the positive in their life. Regardless of what your title is, because titles don't make the role model. The role model makes the role model.
Exactly.
The person you are. So that's what we need, man. Men to encourage, to educate other young men, and so we can start, kind of move away and start to change these situations that we're finding ourselves in. Especially, I know, from a woman's standpoint, a lot of black women like to deal with black men, and if they're dying off early, as our daughters grow up, there won't be anybody around.
I know.
They can be looking for them and like, I'm sorry, baby, I guess you're gonna have to. So we definitely need to step in and save some of these young men.
Right. And I think also as a society, being a counselor, I often will come across a lot of African-American men and we'll have the discussion about going to counseling. And one of the first things I'll hear is, well, I'm not crazy.
I ain't crazy.
I don't want to deal with that, And so I think as a society, we really need to, make it okay to get help. You don't have to be crazy to get, services from a counselor. Right. You just may need that support, and maybe you're not getting that support in other areas, or even in your relationships. You may need, a marriage counselor, a couples counselor to just help you get through that particular situation that you're going through, and to, just be open to that, because we tend to say, oh, if you ask for help or if you cry, you're soft and, you can't be a man, you can't take care of business, but that may not necessarily be the situation. You just may need some additional support that, other people aren't providing. Mm-hmm. And, we often see, black men not getting, the support and encouragement that they need. So just diversifying, as many avenues as possible, I think will definitely help our community, become stronger.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point in terms of counseling. Everybody can use a counseling. It's like, and I see these all the time, in my work environment, and basically you people come in for something, but when you look deeper, you realize that there's much more than just the physical stuff going on. There's some emotional stuff going on. Exactly. So it's not unusual for me to take time and say, what really is going on? Because what happens is, if you don't talk about it, it builds up inside of you. Then eventually you'll have a physical manifestation. So if you come in and I say, okay, take some pills to take care of your physical manifestation, guess what? I'm just putting a Band-Aid on or putting a lipstick on a pig, basically. So we got to address what's the root cause of the problem itself. So that's where counseling comes in. It's okay to talk. It's okay to cry. I cry sometimes. It's therapeutic.
Right.
So we got to encourage our men too, crying doesn't mean you're not manning up. Just show you human, and you have emotion, and you have feelings too.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Join the discussion. Call in, win one of these Zumbathon tickets. But let's go on, Doctor. Let's talk about some general health things that men need to to kind of make sure that we're taken care of so that we can be healthy? Just normal, healthy things that we should be doing.
Okay. I mean, since we're talking about men's health, and one of the goals is to find ways to prevent early death, and there are some things that, we can do to mitigate that, such as just like routine screening. So if we try to say, let's focus on maybe pick a specific age category or in general itself, let's look at the number one cause of death in the U.S. is a heart disease, followed by cancer, of course, unintentional injury. And heart disease is big in our community, because, like I said earlier, one of the reasons why you see that is, one, either we don't go to see the doctor, we don't get checked regularly, or we have high blood pressure, we're not taking our medicine. And what happens is, if you have a high blood pressure and it's long-standing, eventually it takes a toll on your heart.
Right.
You can imagine thinking about a pump. Your heart is a pump.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressure is the gradient that your heart is pumping against. So the higher your blood pressure, the harder your heart works.
Right.
And guess what? If your heart keeps working that hard all the time, eventually it's going to fail. You may have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have blood pressure, one thing is try to control it.
Mm-hmm.
The mistake we make sometimes is you may go to the doctor and they prescribe you medication and you don't have any symptoms. You think it's all good.
Yeah.
So I implore my patient that, despite the fact that you're taking that medication, check your blood pressure at least twice a day or once a day and document that. Take ownership of that. So if you see that your pressure is going higher than normal, let somebody know about it.
Right.
So you can't just say, oh, I have high blood pressure, I'm taking my medication, but you're not checking it. Sometimes the medication is not working, but if you're not checking it, we don't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to implore my patient to take ownership of that. You're taking ownership of that. Now, what else can we do to prevent ourselves from having high blood pressure, or prevent ourselves from dealing with the consequences of high blood pressure? Because number one, for black folks, high blood pressure is one of the number one cause of your kidney failure, going on dialysis, because eventually it takes toll on your kidney.
Mm-hmm.
You go on dialysis. So it's like just one disease, by not taking good care of it, leads to a cascade of other events
Mm-hmm.
that could potentially shorten your lifespan.
Right.
So that blood pressure is huge. And, how can we, prevent that? One, it's minimize the amount of salt intake we consume every day. Because I know people want to put salt on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, put
addicted.
salt on everything, yeah. Put salt on ice cream or something. But the goal is to, it's okay to indulge, but do in moderation,
Right.
I mean, in my household now, I use salt substitute. It don't taste like real salt, but it has like 60% less salt content in it.
Mm.
But it still has flavor,
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. And if you fry a lot, maybe bake,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Change it up a little bit.
A little bit, just change it up a little bit. It's okay to have some fries now and then, but not all the time.
Right.
Everything is in moderation.
Right.
If you smoke, then minimize. Just get that stuff out of your body. It's just gonna kill you early.
Right.
So if you do smoke, find a way to get out of it.
Right.
You know?
Especially smoke.
Yeah.
Even the cigarette company tell you it's bad for you.
Yeah.
That's the one company that don't lie to you.
Right.
They want you to buy
They
more,
can't
but they're not
anymore, at
lying to you.
least.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
giving that. But yeah, I agree. I tell people, all the time, it's all about moderation. It's not that you can't have; it's just that you can't have everything. Don't eat Popeyes every day.
Mm-hmm.
But
Fried catfish and
As
fries.
good as it is, you can't do that every day.
you can't do it every day. But one Popeyes once a week might not kill you though.
Yeah.
407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Give us a call. Join in on this discussion about men's health and just health in general. And remember, we're giving away these tickets. I can't believe nobody wants to go to the Zumba-thon on Saturday. Does everybody know what Zumba is? If you don't know what the Zumba is, call in. We'll tell you what Zumba is real quick. Perhaps you don't know,
Lose
but
weight.
just
That's
generally
a great way to
speaking,
do
What'd you say there, Miss Monica?
I was just saying, if they're looking to lose weight, everybody still may have their resolutions going on. That's a great way to lose weight, and it's very fun. I've been to one of their Zumbathons. It's very fun.
That's a very good segue too, because one of the things that are preventable cause of death or shorten our lifespan is obesity. Mm-hmm. And in our population, it's actually an epidemic. And now we're seeing young kids, 8, 9 years old, with high blood pressure.
That's
wow,
crazy.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Developing diabetes.
Yeah.
By virtue of being obese.
Mm-hmm.
So now the campaign is now focusing on addressing childhood obesity, because it starts from the childhood age and kind of carries on with the child.
Mm-hmm.
By the time they get older, now it's too late to turn the clock back.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to now encourage our kids now in terms of their diet, exercise, getting them involved. But the problem you run into, it's, back in the days in the school you have PE.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all gone now because there's no funding for it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's no funding for it, and making sure they get the right scores on that FCAT.
Exactly.
And other state standardized
important.
exams is becoming more important.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is a sad thing. And then too, just from where we are in society today, the other problem with that is, kids want to play video games these days.
Right.
Nobody wants to go outside anymore.
Turn off.
Turn off
the
the video
PlayStations
game.
and your Xboxes. Turn them off sometimes. Go outside.
Go outside.
There's a basketball goal outside. You ain't got to play NBA Live. It's much more fun to go out and play with your friends
Right.
than to have Jordan running on the video game, dunking. Trust me.
Yeah, do it yourself.
It's better for you in the long run too.
Right.
407-894-1680.
I think as well, just, in talking about eating habits, and it's more painful for the parents, but a lot of times parents will, it's so much easier to go to run at McDonald's and get 2 Happy Meals than to go and cook, a healthy meal that may take a little more time. But I think that especially for our children, that it's so important that we try to provide home-cooked meals, because there's all kinds of things in this food. I was actually watching a show earlier today where they said that there's a lot of quote-unquote fake food inside of our food that we're eating, where teas would have long grass in it and we don't even know, and different things, where certain areas in fast food places, like the drinks, have so much bacteria in the containers that hold the drinks that we're just ingesting and not even thinking about it. So trying to, manually do those things ourselves will help protect our kids as well, and ourselves as well.
I think also we use a lot of seasoning salt. And that's what we need to cut back on, because a lot of black people love some seasoning salt for some reason, but they put seasoning salt on everything. But then other people, they don't really cook with salt, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something.
Right, finding those alternatives for seasoning.
Right, like you say, it's about balance. And like you said, there are alternatives out there that you can use to kind of supplement and not have some heavy kind of salt content to your diet. So you just have to look around. There's something out there to kind of counteract whatever the bad product is, we'll call it. There's always something good. I'm sorry, I hear we have a caller. How you doing tonight, caller?
Brother J. Real.
Jimmy Shine. How you doing, Jimmy Shine?
And the Real Talk crew.
What's going on tonight, sir?
Hey, I'm trying to find out, did we ever determine where that location was on Mercy Drive for the medical care, that free medical care, or the medical care? He said it was on Mercy Drive.
You're talking about the clinic?
The health
Yeah.
I don't know the address, but I can. If you come from 50, you make the right on Mercy, you ride it all the way to the end. It's on your left-hand side. If you get to Princeton, you went too far, but it's on the left-hand side. It's where. Don't be afraid if you see a Lakeside Hospital there, because the mental health clinic is there as well. But that is the place.
Right.
It used to be the old Princeton Hospital back in the day.
On Mercy Drive.
Yeah, you have that one. There's one in Winter Garden. There's one in Apopka. There's one in there's one on OBT.
Right.
On OBT, there's like he said, they were around. If you just look up the community health centers, Orange County, a bunch of them will pop up.
Actually, I'm actually on a website right now. It's called freemedicalsearch.com, and on their website they list several free or income-based clinics in the city. You have downtown Orlando Shepherd's Hope Health Center.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard of Shepherd's
You
Hope.
have
That's well known.
the Walker Shepherd's Hope Health Center as well. Then there's Dr. Deeble Jr. Memorial Shepherd's Hope Health Center. The Harbor House is one. Global Hope Network International is another. You have Southside Family Health Center.
But what's that search engine you use again?
It's called Free Medical Search, and it is .org. I'm sorry, freemedicalsearch.org.
Yeah, I got the address for the one on Mercy Drive. It's actually 1800 Mercy Drive.
1800 Mercy Drive.
Correct. Second floor, Orlando, Florida, 32808.
Very good. Well, folks, if you've gotten your first paycheck for 2013,
We know.
you may have noticed that you're about $20 to $40 short.
Yep.
We were, sir. We were.
Well, they got my money, and that's called the Affordable Health Care Act, aka Obamacare. Oh yeah. And
Let me guess. You're not a fan, right, Jimmy John?
hey, if they gonna take my money, at least tell me where I can go to get some medical attention. You know what I mean? Like, don't just take my money and then I'm still hurting. You know what I mean? Tell me where to go where I can get me some medical attention. But it gets even better. It gets even better for February. Come February, as you well know, we get our W-2s and we file for our annual income tax return. Guess what happens there? Obamacare goes into your income tax return and they pull money out of your income tax return. Oh yeah, I've checked with my tax preparer already, and he says the new changes in Obamacare, a 900-page document. New changes in the income tax return, they're going to go into your income tax return and pull out, according to how many people live in your house, they're going to pull out a couple of $100 out of your income tax return. Had y'all heard about that?
No, I don't think I paid attention to that. We're going to have a tax person on next week. So I'll make sure to ask that question to her next week when she comes on.
Well, I'm afraid it's going down. It's going down, and the only thing I can say is, if you're going to take money out of every one of my checks from here on out and then go into my income tax return and pull money out, you better give me some medical attention somewhere. 'Cause this is crazy. This is getting crazy now. And then, of course, let's not forget, I warned you guys about this. Part of the new medical surveillance system, the Obamacare microchips coming up in March. I warned you about it. Almost a year ago. It's going down. And so don't be surprised if you get a letter to your house asking you to come in to be evaluated, and that's the way they put it. They say come in and be evaluated for the new Obamacare or microchip evaluation, whereas they'll just come in and see what kind of a condition you're in, and if you're obese or if you warrant some type of you may need to be monitored, is the way they'll say it.
That's how they're gonna say it. Okay.
And they say, well, we can take care of that. We'll just put a microchip in the back of your hand, and that way we can monitor you. If you were to become ill and have a heart attack, we can just monitor you. Oh, that mark of the beast, boy, I ain't looking forward to that at all. I ain't going for that one.
All right, Jimmy Shine, man, we appreciate you, man.
We'll be in touch.
All right,
man.
Bye-bye.
You gotta love Jimmy Shine, the resident, the second resident conspiracy brother. That's
Faithful listener.
Faithful listener. That's why we love Jimmy Shine. That's why I don't mind giving
one?
Shine a couple minutes because he listens every week.
Who was the number one though?
Oh, well, you know it's you, Mr.
Oh,
King.
okay.
We gotta show you love, Mr. King.
I was just wondering because I had been saying all that. Nobody wants to listen. At least they listen to you, Jimmy Shine. I respect that. They don't listen to me. They look at me with the mouth like, is he crazy? You know. So.
The second conspiracy, but like I said, but yeah, but like to Jimmy Shine and everybody else, you will kind of be getting yours, of course, at the end of the years when they start organizing all of these health exchanges that are going to be created as a part of the healthcare law. And so that starts around October 2013 this year, like I said, near the end of the year. And then starting in the beginning of the year, you should be able to start purchasing as a part of these healthcare exchanges. And so let's just say, I've been on record to offer my skepticism of the whole plan. But, knock on wood, hopefully everything works out like he said. It's a lot cheaper compared to what it is now, and
see, I wanted to ask you as a medical professional,
everybody will win.
How is it, or does it affect your job, or I don't know, what changes do you foresee, or
A lot, because what's going to happen is a lot of patients that actually have insurance right now through their job. Mm-hmm. The job might say it's easier for me to pay the fine. You go get your own insurance.
You get your own insurance, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they get on that Medicaid, and what ends up happening is, the reimbursement is significantly lower than with commercial insurance policy.
Right.
So if, let's say an insurance company paid you 60 cents to $1, and Medicaid's pay you 35 cents to $1. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have all those people from high tier now going to the low tier,
right.
Mm-hmm. So, and there'll be a lot of people that will say, you know what, I'm not buying anything. Fine me.
Right.
I'll pay the fine. If I go to the ER and
they can't touch
me, they got to take care of me.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like the ER, the emergency room has now become the clinic for everybody.
Right,
now,
exactly.
Because I'm going to the ER.
Instead of being for emergency.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Oh, okay.
I ain't gonna lie. We've used that as a clinic before we had insurance. I'm not gonna lie to you, like you said, because I refuse to have somebody die on me. And you got to go somewhere. And like I said, that's before we had all the knowledge of the different clinics around. So you do what you got to do.
And one thing I would just like to say before we finish today, it's there are some cancers in men that are preventable, that are killing our men, grown men. Because if you look at male in the entire United States, white, black, Hispanic, the number one cause of death is prostate cancer. The number one cancer is prostate cancer. And in the total population itself, you see it at about 144 in every 100,000 population in the general population itself. But when you start breaking these down, though, when you look at white population, you see it about 134 in 100,000 population. But when you go to blacks, it's 218 per 100,000 population. That's huge. So you say the national average for prostate cancer in male in every 100,000 population is 144. But in black men, it's 218. So this is huge. And the bottom line with prostate cancer is early identification.
Got to get checked up.
You got to get checked out. And a lot of black men don't like being probed.
Right.
Because the test that's required to screen your prostate require a digital rectal exam. So we get scared, like we're not going.
Right.
So I think we got to pay attention to this, and there are some signs that you ought to be looking for.
Real quick, what's the age too, doctor?
Actually, we're seeing them younger now. So when you go from 38 upwards, you see it in some 35 years old, those might be isolated cases. But when you talk about prostate cancer, you start thinking about over 40s. Over 40s.
Every year?
Oh, yeah. It takes 30 seconds, get it checked. Because there are some things you need to start paying attention to that may kind of key you into if you have, enlarged prostate, which is the first sign, okay? And if you start having problem, when you're trying to urinate, it's taking longer to come out, okay? Or when you start peeing, the flow is kind of weak. It got weaker, and it feels like it's interrupted. Or you're getting up several times at night to pee. You know, you just keep going and keep going and keep going. The problem with that is some patients that may have early diabetes or just starting diabetes might also be peeing a lot at night. So they may be like, oh, it's your sugar. But gosh, there's something else going on. So if you're over 40 and you're having all those signs, or you're having pain or burning when you urinate, or you see blood in your urine or in your semen, you got to get checked up. You know, it's good to see signs and be able to identify those signs and take the necessary means to prevent it. Early identification, early diagnosis, and there's treatment for it.
Prostate cancer. Yeah, like I said, you know, I know that is a huge fear, especially within our community.
Yes,
just because, you know.
In this building. But I do ask. Last time I got my physical, I asked, he told me I didn't need it right now. So, good. But I did ask. Because I just want to be sure, because I know our father had prostate cancer, so, you know.
Right, and it is some hereditary in there too, right?
To it, yeah.
That's what I thought. So yeah, definitely. But you know, it's that fear, that idea. You know, a digital rectal exam. You know, we already sort of had that fear relative to homosexuality, and for some reason we associate this with that, and so a lot of us don't go because it's like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah. But you know, like you said, it's not about that. It's about health, and it's about making sure you are healthy, and so those one of those things you just got to get done every year.
And breathing
every year, at least starting around that age of 40, right, doctor?
Yep.
Every year, starting around that age of 40, you want to make sure you get that done. We're kind of wrapping up here. Any kind of closing remarks you want to make tonight, doctor?
Well, the in terms of closing up, it's basically what do we need to do to prevent, you know, all these problems. And there are some things we can do as a community to minimize, you know, our young folks dying from, you know, too early. You know, when we talk about the healthcare issue, getting checked, getting screened, you know, there are free clinics out there. Utilize the resources you have in the community. Ask somebody, you know, and you'll get someone direct you to the right location to get the resources you need. In terms of death in our young men from firearms, homicide, suicide, the community, we need to come together and be mentor to this young black man to actually have hope, someone to look forward to. You do not have to be a super professional to be a mentor. Right. As long as you have something positive going on in your life, you could be a mentor to somebody, talk to somebody, you know, and that's all I can say.
All right. We appreciate you coming out and talking with us tonight, Dr. Adewale. We appreciate that. Emergency medicine. You also have your own office, if I'm not mistaken, too? Or?
Actually, I'm part of Florida Emergency Physicians.
Okay. And go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
Well, I work in, we cover the emergency department in Florida Hospital, basically in Orlando.
Okay.
You know, so we're a group of ER docs that take care of you.
Travel
know, the
around
hospital.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Florida Hospital Emergency Department, you can find Dr. Adewale. Again, we thank you for coming out. I met him a few months ago now, and asked him to come on, and he came on. So I appreciate that.
Yes. Very good information.
So before we wrap up, just to kind of throw a couple of those clinics out there one more time. Again, these are either free or income-based clinics. There's the Eatonville Family Health Center. There's the Health Care Center for the Homeless of Orlando. There's the Lake Underhill Family Health Center. There's also the Pine Hills Family Health Center as well. And then there are several different Shepherd's Hope Health Centers in the city as well, in addition to Harbor House and Global Hope Network International, all places where you can either get some sort of free or income-based health care so that you're not having to wait to the last minute to solve whatever issues you have going on with your health. Or as the doctor says, come into the emergency room as your health clinic. You need to see somebody way before you get to that point, hopefully. So just keep that in mind. Again, I want to plug this weekend the Zumbathon in honor of Miss McCrae to help her gain some funds as she prepares to get her liver transplant. Remember, that's going to be at Tangelo Park YMCA, which is on 5160 Pueblo Street. And the tickets are going to be $10 per person at the door. It starts at 3 p.m., ends at 5 p.m. And Zumba, for those that don't know, is some exercise with dance, a lot of Latin dance and other kind of dances. So go out, have a good time. This is WOKB 1680 AM. This is your host, Jay Real, signing off this week from Real Family Talk. We will see you next week, same time, 9 p.m. Remember, you can check us out on Facebook, Real Family Talk. You can check out our website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com. And check us out on Twitter as well, Real Family Talk. Have a good week now. Follow us on Facebook, Real Family Talk. You can follow us on Twitter, Real Family Talk. The website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com.